In our last Bannerlord video, we talked tips. We were taking baby steps. They were tips to help you understand and start getting better at the game. I'll link it if you haven't seen it, but in my opinion, the game holds your hand a little at the start. But as soon as you hit the mid to late game, it starts to open you up to a ton of systems that are pretty complicated. So today, I want to try and talk through some of the ones that are big, essential to the game, and are important to understand as soon as you hit that part of the game. What's up guys, Marty here, and today we're talking about castles and kingdom management in Bannerlord. If you're new here, I cover medieval, fantasy and survival games, so subscribe to the channel to see more of that kind of thing. As always, I'll timestamp the video as I don't want to waste any more of your time if you've heard everything I'm talking about in a certain section before, so you can jump around to the bit that you want to see. So before you start managing a kingdom and managing a castle, you need to have one. So let's start with taking a castle and a fief. So to do this, you can go down two paths really. You can start your own kingdom, or you can become a vassal to another lord and manage their castles and fiefs for them. So we'll go over that one first because it's quick and easy. So to be a vassal, you just head over to the lord and you pledge yourself to them, to their service. You incite a speech and you pledge yourself to their kingdom, to their clan, and to do what they require of you. As long as you're not at war with someone and they're happy with you, they should take you on as their vassal. If not, do a few quests, up your relationship a little bit. And then as you progress with them, you'll be given castles and fiefs as you rank up in their hierarchy really. So I've got a full influence guide if you're struggling, but basically you want to fight for the lord and earn influence and spend it on voting rights. So they go to war, you join their army. They go fight a castle, you fight with them. And you're ticking off things to help them and you're earning influence for doing that. And then you can spend that influence. You can spend it on building armies or you can spend it on voting. So the big one here is when they vote for a recently seized castle, you can vote who it goes to. If you're low down on the pecking order, you won't get many votes. So you'll have to spend a ton of influence yourself. If you stay there for a while and you earn their trust and you become a valued member, you'll automatically get votes from other people. I've won castles without even voting myself. But generally, if you have influence, you can always win. If you save your influence, let's say 3 votes go up on castles and you don't vote, you'll have saved up a ton. And then when the 4th castle gets taken, use all of your influence and you'll probably get it. So, like I say, I'm not going to go into too much depth here because I've got a full 10-minute video going over this system. So check it out if you want to be a vassal and you want to grow your kingdom as a vassal of another clan. So maybe you're sick of working for the man though, and you want full control. Maybe you want to take over the world, but the leaders you're with are too passive, or maybe you just want a small kingdom. Maybe you just want to learn things. So you want a small, 1 castle and 2 fiefs, and you just want to learn how to do things and grow slowly. And you don't want to be in another big kingdom that's going to war with everyone every 5 minutes. So maybe making a new kingdom of your own is what you want. So this is kind of long as it involves doing the main quest. They've just announced a sandbox mode for Bannerlord, which removes this requirement if you really don't want to do it. So starting up a sandbox mode, you can just make your own kingdom straight away, make your own banner. So let's talk main story. What do you need to do? So first off, when you start, you do the little tiny tutorial bit, and then you get Nerezet's Folly. This involves speaking to 10 nobles. Basically, just go around the whole map and talk to the big 10 leaders. Press N, I think it is, to get the encyclopedia if you want to find where all these leaders are. That's the easiest way to do it. Or just go to a random castle and say, hey, I'm looking for this guy, and they'll point you in the right direction. Tell you where he was most recently. Do that, meet the 10 people, and then you have to meet with 2 other people, Istiana and Azagos. So go meet those 2 people, and they tell you need to recreate the dragon banner. So this basically just means you've got to find 3 pieces of the banner and put it together. It's mostly just going into bandit hideouts and killing the bandits. And then you get the 3 pieces of the banner. And then you choose, do you go to Istiana or do you go to Azagos? One wants you to join the empire and one wants you to create a kingdom that fights the empire. So make your decision and you get given a checklist of requirements before you can start your own kingdom. You need to be clan level 4, over 100 troops, be independent from all the other lords, and have your own settlement. Now, 3 or 4 of these are very easy. They just come with time. Clan level 4, 100 troops, just keep playing, keep leveling up. Independent from the lords, just leave anyone's service. And there it is, you've got those 3. The hard one here is having your own settlement. When you're going it alone, how do you get a castle when you're one man against a full army, right? So let's end that there and go on to getting your first piece of land. This is tough. So you can either raise a huge army and take down one of the weaker, most recently taken castles. This is a pretty good way to do it. So let's say you've got a max of 150 people. You would take on more at the last minute. So quickly go around and fill up to 200 and try not to get too many deserters. And then maybe you would just rush a castle that's just been taken and overthrow it. So let's say a castle's just been taken, they've got very few people in there. You go in, start war, and you just rush that castle and take it. It's hard, it's going to be a challenge, but it will get you that castle early. And then you would go to the person you went to war with, and you would then try and make peace with them. That's one way of doing it, but it does involve you being really at the peak of a solo player. You really need to have everything and just be in the right place at the right time to take the right castle. Yeah, and you also need a good amount of money, because if you try to go to peace with them straight after, they're going to charge you a lot of money to do that. And if you can't make peace with them, you're going to be one man with a little castle against like 1,000 people empire. So yeah, that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is become a vassal for another person, which we touched on earlier. Jump around to the early part of that section if you skipped it. But yeah, become a vassal of another lord. And then as you play your influence game, and you'll be given castles and fiefs, you can easily get like 3 or 4 castles here. Get rich, get strong, you'll have loads of money coming in, you'll have armies all over the land, and then leave. Leave their service. When you leave, it will give you 2 choices. It will say, leave and give everything back, or leave and take everything with you. Now, here's the thing. If you take everything with you, they go to war with you and you lose all respect from them. They hate you. This is what I'm telling you to do though. This is the best way to do it. You stay with them, grow a really big, strong army, you level up, and you make a ton of money. You'll be making tons. You'll have like 3 or 4 castles. You're making tons of money. Stockpile your money, a few 100,000, and then leave. And then make peace. They're going to charge you a lot to make peace because you've betrayed them. But you've got the money from them. So pay them off. The issue you're going to have here is they may keep going to war with you, especially if your castles are in their territory, right? Because they will have been. So make sure you've got the money to keep making peace again and again and again. So we've talked going at it alone or betraying another kingdom to get your first castle. There is a third way that's not so often talked about that's quite easy, but only if you've already put the work in. So it's using your trade skill. So if you play the game of buy low, sell high, moving around, buying and selling big amounts of resources, you'll be leveling your trade. When you max your trade skill, you get the ability to barter for land. So you can, this takes a very long time to do. If you're sitting there with 0 trade skill, I wouldn't recommend it because it's going to take you a while. But if you've already got a decent amount of this, it could be an easy way to start. So you would go to a lord, and you would open trade, as you can do with anyone, regardless of what relation you have, and you just buy one of their castles off them. As simple as that. Obviously, you're going to need a large amount of money, but you don't have to mess around with any war, you don't have to make any enemies, and you don't have to worry about people turning on you later on. But you do have to put the upfront work in. So yeah, they're the 3 ways to get your first piece of land and either start your own kingdom or start castle management. So you've bartered for or lied your way into having your own castle. Welcome to the mid to end game. You go to your castle, you think, here it is. You can walk around the Lord's Hall, you look at your garrison, and you open the interactive menu and you get confused. This is overwhelming. There's a lot to do here. There's a whole new system, interface, and no explanation. So I'm just going to talk through it really, explain what I would do, and give a few extra details that the game maybe doesn't give you. So I'm going to break this down into like 4 sections really, because there's 4 different parts to this. So let's first talk through the building side. As of right now, I've got 3 castles and like 9 fiefs, I think. So I'm just going to go into one now and talk through it. You want to choose the buildings here that you want to focus on building. Think of construction as a resource, and you spend that resource on building something. It's a limited resource, so you can only build certain things at a time. And the more of that resource you have, the faster you can build. So the more you can build in a certain amount of time. Now, what you want to build here depends on your current situation. If you took this over in a big fight and you know that you've got 1,000 people about to march to your door, you're going to have to focus on defense. So you want to focus on a bit garrison size, walls, training fields to increase garrison experience, militia to increase troop recruitment. You're going to want to focus on all the different things that improve how fast you can get troops and how many troops you can have. If you've just taken the castle as well, you might want to work on a siege workshop because that will repair your walls faster. However, this works well in the short term, fill it full of people, defend, but you're going to hit a lot of issues in the long term. So I want to go through what I would say is priority to improve your castle before you fill it with troops. Obviously, this is easier if you're in a time of peace and you don't have enemies sniffing around your castle all the time. But this is what I would focus on. You've got granary and gardens. They improve your food capacity and your food limit, which is important. You also get food from fiefs, assuming they're not being raided. And then you've got the Castellan's office, which reduces troop wages. This is huge, as castles full of troops just sit there and drain your money. Other than that, some other things that are worth considering is the loyalty one. That impacts a lot of things. And if it drops too low, you could have a rebellion. You'll regularly see, this place has rebelled against this guy in your newsfeed as you're playing. You don't want that to be you. The workshop as well is important as it increases your construction speed. So if I was managing a fresh castle, I'd just taken a castle, talked the other guy into leaving me alone, and I had a bit of time to work on the castle, I would do it in this order. I'd keep the troops in the castle low. I'd get the workshop first and get that maxed to increase the speed of production, as production speed is gonna only useful when you're building. So it's only useful at the start, really. Then I'd focus on gardens and granary to cap food production. I'd get a Castellan's office to lower troops' wages, and then I'd get a toll collector to earn taxes. And then you've got food, so you've got room to grow. You've got low expenses and high income. And then you focus on what you need more. If you're about to go to war, you want to focus on barrack size, militia production, and walls, stuff like that. If you want to stay passive for a while, keep pushing into tax collecting, do the fairgrounds for morale. And it really is that simple. Once you've understood what you want to do, you just plan it out and you can literally just keep clicking and put them all on your list. Now let's go over the next part, the daily defaults. These are passive bonuses that you want to generate. And again, totally depends on how you want to run your city. You can focus on loyalty, military, growth, or prosperity. Think prosperity is money. And these are totally separate from your construction queue. They happen regardless and always. So you always want one, and make sure you look at these to see which. Some will not always give you a bonus based on the castle's current situation and what upgrades you already have. So make sure you're getting one that is actually giving you perks, and check this often. Other systems are reserves. This allows you to funnel your cash directly into the city. So this is like the third thing I'd want to mention. I was nervous about this at first, as I'm obsessed with having a positive cash flow, especially near the end game. The thought of sitting in a city and my money going down terrifies me. But don't be alarmed, I tested this out and it does not affect your net cash flow. This is a one-time cash dump. If you drop a few £1,000s in here, it will speed up your projects using the amount you've dropped in. So it will use 250 of your gold a day that you've deposited, and when that money is run out, it will stop. And it will contribute, I think it's 20 construction per day. So it'll basically just speed up your construction. Now, I definitely recommend boosting the early stuff, as you're going to end up saving gold in the long run. So get them built fast. So for example, if you were to use your money early and put them into the workshops, what you're doing is try and think you're using money to create something that speeds up production. So then you're spending to increase something that increases production passively. So then you don't need to use your money. And then any money you do use is above and beyond that. Or you could think of it, use your money to create Castillos and create the toll officers, and then you're increasing your money in the future. So it's like an investment upfront that will benefit you in the future. Definitely worth dropping some money in here at the start. Once you're into stuff like increasing garrison size, unless you're desperate to go to war, I wouldn't waste your money on that. The other systems are the governor. A member of your family or companion can govern one of your castles and provide passive bonuses. There are tons of things that impact the governor bonus as they're tied to the person's skills. Like an engineer will provide building and castle benefits. So, for example, I've got this guy, Two Like the Knowing. He's my engineer for castle sieges, and he provides castle siege like bonuses, building speed improvements, and he does basically what a workshop would do, which is awesome. For comparison, I've got a trader, Borthan the Spice Vendor, and she provides a benefit of 20% decreased garrison wages. Wow. I wish I had like 5 of her to put in all of them, plus loads of other different benefits. And as you can see, having a governor in here is huge. My tip here would be use them as you need them. When you first take something over and you want to build, all the base stuff quick, you want to put someone in like somebody with a engineering background, because they're going to be able to get the building quick. If you're going to do loads of war, having someone good at fighting would be good in here. You can go on like the wiki, type in governor, and it will show you all the different skills that impact all the different things if you really want to like min-max it. But yeah, look who you've got, look what they can do. Definitely worth it. If you're not really doing much with your castles, maybe your companions are better used as traders or growing their own armies. So you don't always want one, but they're incredibly useful. And that's it. That's it really, guys. The only other tips on castles I'd give is keep troop sizes within your budget. Don't think, yeah, I've got a garrison now, I can fill it with people. You will go broke so quick. And on top of that, take cavalry troops out of your garrison. They're super expensive and you don't need horses when defending. Put them in your own army. They're much more useful. And swap them for like stationary archers or something. Other than that, guys, that's it. I think we've talked through how to start taking land either peacefully, aggressively, or sneakily. We've gone through how best to optimize your cities for war or for growth. The only thing I think you'll struggle with in the late game is feeding your big armies and paying for them, really. When you've got like 10 castles and you've got to pay for all the units in every castle, that's kind of hard. The game's constantly getting hotfixed, and I'll be honest, money in the late game feels kind of broken right now. There are exploits to make money fast, but it seems difficult to make constant high income. I want to make a video going over everything in the future because this is really hard. And I mean, I'm struggling to even get a video out on this because I'm struggling to min-max it in the end game myself. I'm constantly struggling to get a positive cash flow, and I'm constantly having to cut troops here and there to keep it positive. But yeah, I want to make that in the future. For now, I would suggest making a workshop in every town. These cap out based on your clan level, so cap them out. Check what the fief of the town is producing and then make a workshop on that. So if their primary produce is sheep, make a woolery. Just go to the town, press Alt, head there, talk to the shopkeeper and buy a workshop. Optimize all your castles, use upgrades to lower the wages, increase the taxes, increase prosperity to increase income, keep troops low when necessary. That's a big one. If you've got a castle in the middle of your kingdom, I wouldn't staff it as much as a castle sitting outside right near an enemy territory. And then work on like an active trade for money. Like maybe work on your trade skill to buy low, sell high. Maybe work on forging to make overpowered, expensive weapons to sell. Or maybe just keep going to war and selling leaders back to their own faction for money. They're my quick money tips without making an extensive guide. Hopefully this guide has helped. The late game in Bannerlord is overwhelming and there's a lot to take in. Plus it's changing all the time. But I've tried to cover some of the more complicated stuff. I know it's kind of gone on longer than usual, but yeah, it felt like there was a lot to cover. Let me know in the comments if anything isn't clear or if anything has been missed. Probably has. The videos I've got in the works are late game money making, as I've said, and using forging to craft legendary weapons. So subscribe if you want to see them. If there's anything else you want to see, let me know in the comments as well. As yeah, I love Bannerlord. I'll keep making videos on it. Other than that, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will catch you in the next one.